morning. It's 9 o'clock and it's Monday morning, so it must be Motivational Monday. So those of you that are new to the channel, I'm Cheryl Andrews. I'm the founder of Step by Step Listening, and I'm all about helping you work out how to make it happen. And so I'm going live today into the Manager Critic community group. So that's where we have our private discussions where we unpack what it is that's holding us back. But we've also here live on the Step by Step Listening page and on the YouTube channel. So please put your comments, say hello to me, let me know when you come on live. Today's subject is why you should never believe someone who says you just need to do something. And even me, right now, I'm writing book number 3 and I'm talking about the do, delegate or ditch. The ultimate system comes down to 3 core pillars. And I'm talking to people about the fact the first thing you need is absolute clarity of what you want. And it sounds like such a simple statement. So just decide what you want to do. Just work out what you want to have happen. But of course, if everything was that simple, we would have done it already. And often the people who are saying to you, just do this, they have forgotten all of the many iterations of things that they've done to get to where they are now, where they can now do it that quickly. They forgot the learning process they went to. So here's a good example. Right now, those of you know that are following my Facebook page, my personal page, will know that I am working with Lisa Newport from Savvy Style, and I've had my colours done, I've had my style done, and I had it done years ago. But having worn the detective outfit for the last 3 years, I was starting to feel pretty drab and really boring, okay? And so Lisa talked about, you can salvage some of this top's a bit dark. Oh, sorry, I've got loops there. Oh gosh, the loops are flashing. So the trouble with the stream, I don't know which side I'm going. So you can see all my loops now. I'm trying to show you this dark blue top underneath. I love how it feels, but it's quite a dark colour. So I just need to put on a scarf. Well, I can tell you now that I tried 4 different scarves. I'm not quite sure I've even got the tie right, but the great thing is I'm going to go into the group, show people what I've done, ask Lisa, who's an expert, to give me some hints and tips on how to do it. She said about putting brooches, and I'm doing the left to right wrong again on things. I will just say to you, I put it on that side, this side, this morning. Then when I got on the video, I realised that you couldn't see it because of my nameplate. So then it just took me about 3 or 4 minutes to adjust it. Oh, can't get me left or right. So it was in the right position so it can actually be seen on camera. That was not a just. Okay, that was several iterations of tweaking, getting feedback, looking to see what it looked like and getting there. And then sometimes we can do about 80% of that on our own, but sometimes we need the expert of others. So people who have been following those kinds of have been curious, been interested in that stuff for years, and then they have the awareness of patterns, so they'll know how to work out where that brooch should or shouldn't be. So if you are somebody who is struggling to make it happen, there is a 3-step strategy. However, I want you to, first of all, if someone says to you just, and you can't seem to make it happen straight away as quickly as they seem to, because just sounds like it's just like a really quick thing you should be able to do. If you can't just do it, please remember there is always a process. So I want to give you an example. So for my clients, we work on the 3 core pillars of the ultimate do, delegate or ditch system. You have to, first of all, have clarity of what you want. Those of you that have read my book, and I don't think I have a copy of it handy. No, that's not very good planning, is it, on my part? But the Manager Critic, from Overwhelm to Clarity. In there, I talk about the 7 steps to clarity. So the first step to get clarity is you have to get curious. You have to be able to want to ask questions. But do you know what I haven't written in that book necessarily is before that, you have to decide that you are willing to ask for help, or you need to be willing to help yourself. You have to even recognize that what is going on right now is not working for you. You have to decide that you are sick of the patterns that are happening. You have to notice that you criticize yourself a lot, or maybe you're very critical of other people. Well, I haven't necessarily put that in the book. It's a bit of an inference by the title, Manage Your Critic. But what most of us do, and this is normal human things, is because actually it's lots of iterations, it's lots of little small changes that happen that get us the thing that we want to have happen. And when people give us instructions to do something, we tend to give the high level. So when we're delegating or asking for help or telling people what we want, we give a very high level overview of stuff. And unless the other person's got some knowledge or experience of it, it's unlikely that they're going to be able to translate what you're saying into actual action. Equally, your own subconscious mind can't help you. So when we talk about just, so I talk about, in order to get clarity, to turn overwhelm into clarity, there's 7 steps. Whereas I've heard so many people, you just need clarity. So I just want to put it out there. That clarity is not always as easy as make a decision, particularly if pillar number 2, you've lost confidence in your ability to make decisions. If you have made a number of decisions that have either not worked out, or didn't get you the result you wanted as quickly as you wanted, or you've been criticised for it, or people have... so a good example would be, I've always known about wearing scarves to brighten up an outfit, okay? I've always known that. But I did an event, God, it was about 8-9 years ago now, and one of my facilitators saw the photograph. She said, oh my God, whatever you do, don't ever wear scarves again. That looks awful. Now, the chances are is maybe I had the wrong colour scarf on, maybe the way that I tied it was wrong, but I took that piece of feedback and never wore a scarf again. And yet I've got a whole load of scarves in the cupboard that I can wear that would work with my outfits to brighten up how I feel, which helps me feel more motivated and more energized than wearing my drab, grey, checker, detective kind of outfits. So thinking about, you can only make a decision if you know the process. So you've got to ask yourself questions, check what you mean by what you say. So check what, if you say you want to be happy, what kind of happy? Just thinking about what works, where's your attention? Is it on, how you used to be? So if you know that you have been happy in the past, think about what's working there. For me, I'm working back to the 23-year-old who backpacked around America, who didn't have a mobile phone, who went on her own for a bit of the period of time. She was meeting friends out there and family members, but did a lot of traveling on her own and was not scared. And had loads of fun, didn't drink, loved dancing, and I'm working my way back to that person. So I know that person exists. That was before I had children. It was before I got my sort of had some challenges with my manager in my corporate days. It was before I became self-employed. It's before I went through divorce. It was before my mum died. There was all those things that happened. So with the clarity process, you can look at, at your attention, you can look back to when there was a time when you have been happy, if that's what you wanted to have happen, or you can look at a time when, what it would be like in the future. But you can also, you need to give yourself effective feedback. When one of the things I'm hearing right now is, as we're coming towards the end of the year, people are saying we've had a terrible year, and it's so not true. All right, the whole year cannot have been terrible. I mean, you must have got up once and had at least a lovely conversation, or saw a beautiful sunrise, or seen a rainbow, or saw the colours changing on the trees. If you look at every individual moment, yes, overall, if you had to generalise the year, you might say it's been one of the most challenging, but it's also been the opportunity to learn loads. So all these small nuances in our information, in the way we're talking to ourselves, affects whether we can get clarity or not. So right now, if you are struggling to think about what you want to happen in 2021, take some time to reflect and think about what worked, what didn't work, and what could work better in terms of this year. And make sure you get down into the detail. Write down everything that worked. Spend some time really, really writing down what is working, and then what is not worked or not gone well. And then, but more importantly, if you're writing a whole load of things that didn't work, you have to give what would have worked better. Just leaving your system, giving your feedback to your own system that, oh, this didn't work, or it's been a terrible year, What could have worked better? It might be, we can't change the pandemic. It is what it is. But maybe what would have worked better is how quickly you resourced yourself, or how well you reacted to the situation, or whatever you've learned about yourself. This year, when you take the opportunity to reflect on it and learn the lessons, becomes a gift. It becomes an opportunity to grow, to be a better version of ourselves. And that's why I say, when people say just get clarity, it's not always as simple as that. The T in the clarity process is about trusting your process. So actually knowing how you do you. When I wrote the book, I didn't know how I got clarity. I didn't know this was my actual process. This is how I did it. And the last thing is about you and your why. It's all right making a decision, but if you don't know why you made the decision, or the story that you're telling yourself at the time when you made that decision, when new information comes in and you have to change your decision, if you don't understand how you made it and why you made it at that point, you can lose confidence in your ability to make decisions. And then it doesn't become a case of you just make a decision. You start to lose confidence in yourself. So the main theme for today's video, and I'm a bit passionate if you can guess, is that when people say to you, just do, even I will say, right, just do this. And I hear myself saying, I catch myself. And if anyone else says it, I go, yeah, okay, just for you is so easy. But remember that even when it's simple to somebody else or simple to you, there's a really good chance that there has been years of test and measure. So Lisa, my Savvy Style consultant, can say to me, you just need to put a scarf on, and she can very quickly choose what color, what texture, what kind of feel, and it will take me a little bit of test and measure. So whilst I get that what I have to do is put a scarf on, I will have to try some on, give myself some feedback in the mirror, get some feedback from other people, get some feedback from Lisa. It won't be a just, but over time, with the ability to engage with feedback, I will get more confident in my ability to make a decision about a scarf. And this is where people forget. So whilst you can, in my case, it's like the 80% of the time, if you drill down and you really listen to what you're saying, and as you say it, you're listening to whether your voice is also saying they agree with you. If you go, right, what I'm going to do is 2021 is going to be the most amazing year. One of the courses that we run at Step by Step Listening is a 1 year that you truly believe in. Now, the reason I have that as a statement is because people can write goals. I'm going to make 100,000. I'm going to make this. I'm going to do that. But if your inner voice is going, yeah, right, well, you tried that last year, it didn't work. The reason why that's happening is not, you know what you want, but you don't have confidence in the process of making something happen. So you have to work out what's your process. And I've done this for years with people. And I can tell you now, when we're making something happen, if we want to get from where we are here to where we want to be, you are going to have to do something, get some feedback, adjust and change, and then have another go. And it's never just adjust. It's iterative processes. And the number one reason why we lose confidence is we don't pay enough attention to what is working, and we forget what's working, and when we're stressed, we run on autopilot and do the old behavior instead of remembering what worked and doing more of what worked, which is why anyone who knows and has signed up for my Success Without Stress newsletter, What's Working Wednesday, is all about keep developing that muscle to make sure you focus on what is working, because we naturally will focus on what doesn't work. So although I'm saying to people, right, step one is just clarity, I've just explained to you how that is a 7-step process. Now, confidence, I have just said, you just need to focus on what's working. You need to remember what is working. Now, I know for me, I have a 10-step process that helps me to stay confident. So I know that when I'm talking to somebody, I'm conscious of the purpose of doing it. All right, so when I get feedback, I'm listening to how my own system is reacting to that feedback. And I know that when I'm talking to people, I'm talking to either hear whether what they're saying makes me really, really like, oh yeah, that brings me joy. Yes, I absolutely know I want to do that. Or if what they say creates any doubt for me or makes me question something, it makes me go back and just double check my decision. Or sometimes when some people say something, I absolutely know I disagree with them, and that means that I now know that my decision, the thing I've got clarity over, is absolutely the right thing for me. Now, I've taken years modelling out my process for confidence, and I actually did it. I say years. It took 6 months actually with a group of people where we got together for 6 months and we actually modelled what did we need to be able to be confident to speak and be honest with ourselves and each other in the group environment. And that's where the 10-step process came about, was we were co-creating this space together, and it was over iterations of sessions. People just seem to forget the journey that it takes to get to where you are now. But the good news for you is that there are a series of questions you can ask yourself if you want to get from where you are now to where you want to be. So if you want to make it happen. So I want to leave those with you this Monday. I want you to think about what is happening right now. Think about what is working about it, what's not working, and what could work better. And then think about if it was just the way you'd like it to be, it would be like what? So that's the first thing. So that's clarity. Clarity of where you are, clarity of where you want to be. Okay, that's the starting point. Then the questions you can ask yourself is what happens in between where you are now and where you want to be. And you might write that down as one answer. I tend to use post-it notes for this if I've got a big project. But so I go, right, so what needs to happen is I need to have a plan maybe. Okay, so what happens just before you have a plan? Okay, and so for me, I have to have a list of things that need to happen. So I have to get a list of things that have to happen. And so what happens between where you are now and a list of things? So I might have to remember when I've done something similar to this before, or I might need to ask somebody who's done it before who will give me their you just have to do list. And I might get a list of things I have to do. So you need to get clarity, you need to have confidence, and you have to be able to manage your own emotional state through change. So you can ask yourself, here, this is where I am, this is where I want to be. You can ask yourself, what happens in between? What happens just before that? And when that, then what happens? And basically you're asking yourself a series of questions that's going to take you through a sequence of time before and after, so that you should be able to end up with you will end up with a series of actions or things that you can do that will move you from where you are now to where you want to be. Now, the problem with doing it on your own, and this is something to bear in mind, is that you have to change the way you give, receive, and invite feedback. So a lot of this work you can do on your own. I could ask you the questions, you'd work out what you want to have happen, you'll drill down and make sure you know what you mean by what you say, and that you're not being mean to yourself. There's no critic going, oh, you can't do that. So you've got absolute clarity, this is what you want. You get confidence in the process by mapping out where you are now to where you want to be. However, sometimes that critical tone, that should or you ought to, or you say it on autopilot and you're not even aware that you're saying it. And that's why having someone like a coach or a really good friend or a peer learner, someone that's with you, listening to what you're saying and repeating your words back to you, can help you start to be aware of the story that you're telling yourself that is undermining your clarity and your confidence. And that's when you change the story that you're telling yourself and other people to one of, this is what I want and I'm confident to do it. Because if you don't have clarity and confidence in what needs to happen, there's a really good chance that one, your own system can't support you and you won't action it, you won't get on and do something. But equally, people around you who want to help you can't support you because it doesn't make sense to them. And so you have to have clarity of what you want, you have to have confidence in the process, but you also have to change the way you give, receive, and invite feedback. And where I see people going wrong, even when they've got absolute clarity of what they want and they've got absolute confidence in themselves, is that they actually limit themselves. They either listen to too much, they listen to loads and loads of feedback and they don't know how to filter it and then make a decision what they're going to listen to, or they don't want anyone to lose, they don't want to knock their confidence, so they don't listen to feedback. And what we've got to be able to do is listen to the feedback, know how much we need and how much we don't need, and then filter it and then make a decision and have clarity of what we're going to do with that information. Right now, what I'm hearing and seeing a lot of people doing is they're online, they're doing online learnings, they're watching and reading stuff on social media, they're getting an overwhelm of options. So let's be really clear, right? There's always going to be a conflict. There'll be people that will tell you, or people have told me before, Cheryl, you need to slow down, you need to talk slower. Cheryl, you need to speed up, you need to have more animation, you need to be more animated, you need to be more inspirational. Cheryl, you need to ask more questions. Cheryl, don't ask so many questions. Cheryl, you need to keep quiet. Cheryl, don't keep quiet because we need to hear your voice. Cheryl, be yourself, but don't do this. You know, there's always going to be this conflicting information, and what you might feel works for you, you might hear an expert saying it doesn't work. But please remember that whilst you need to choose your experts wisely. Okay, I've just spent the last 3 or 4 years following somebody from America, trying to learn online stuff, and it absolutely has not worked for me. Now, I do believe in time it will. It's just not the right time for me now. And I've been able to learn that lesson, ditch it, let go of it, and start afresh for next time. But you have to be able to listen to these people and choose very carefully who you choose to listen to. Understand why you're listening to them. Understand why and when you're going to disagree with them. But ultimately, don't listen to everybody else at the expense of listening to yourself. And I see loads of people taking on huge amounts of information from other people, but not taking enough time to actually stop and check in with yourself what you'd like to have happen. Which brings me towards the end of our 20 minutes. There's a couple of people on live. Please say hello to me. I always love a bit of feedback so I don't feel quite like I'm talking to myself all the time. But please pop a comment in the group. Say hi if you want to in the comments. That would be great to hear from you. But we'll leave Motivational Monday with the questions that I've always asked. And I'm going to make this a consistent thing that we do every single Monday when I come online. So, and if you share them with me, you can get some free coaching from me. I'll ask you some questions so you can get more clarity, get more confidence, and I'll support you as much as I can over the next couple of hours on a Monday morning. So the question is, what would you like to have happen? Pop your answers in the box if you want to have some free coaching. Think about, how do you need to be for that to happen? What kind of you is that you that can make that happen? And the last question is, what kind of resource or support might you need to be like that? Now that is a question not very many people ask yourself, and most of people go around trying to listen to loads, but sometimes what you need is someone to help you listen to yourself, help you to actually tune into what works for you. So I'll do the questions again. I can just see a comment and I'll come back to that. So the questions are, what would you like to have happen? How do you need to be? And what kind of resource or support might you need? Just came in, you look great in these colours, thank you very much. I'll have to look to see who it is, because at the moment on the screen it's just got a Facebook user, so whoever's given me that lovely comment, thank you very much. I am playing with it, I'm having some fun. As everybody knows, that my Make It Happen for November is to have more fun, to enjoy myself. I am ditching anything that is that makes me feel drab, that brings me down. I'm going to go fly into the autumn and winter, knowing that we're going to come out in 2021 absolutely, definitely learning from this year. So please, thank you for your comments. I really appreciate the feedback. And it's a great example of I'm feeling good in it and it resonates, and that's great. However, a few years ago someone said to me, "Don't like your scarf," and I stopped wearing a scarf. So it's just an interesting thing. Don't let people's feedback stop you from having clarity and confidence to make it happen. Have a fantastic week. You know where I am if you need motivation, inspiration to get clarity and confidence to do the things that you love to do. Have an amazing week. Speak to you all soon. Bye.